You don't have a family of your own anyway, so it works out. That's what my mother said at Thanksgiving dinner, in front of everyone, as if she were assigning me a task instead of erasing my autonomy. She didn't ask me to watch the kids over Christmas, she announced it, like she always had, like my time, my plans, and my life were optional details that didn't need to be considered. What she didn't know was that I had already booked a flight, tucked safely in my bag, and for the first time in years, I wasn't going to cancel it. My name is Jessica, I'm 27, and this is the story of the Christmas I stopped being my family's unpaid babysitter. It didn't start all at once, it never does. It started years earlier, quietly, when just a few hours of helping out turned into entire days, then full holidays, then expectations so ingrained that no one even thought to question them. 4 Christmases ago, I was fresh out of nursing school, eager to help, eager to belong. My sister had a newborn, my brother had twins, and my mother framed it as kindness, as family duty. "You're so good with kids," she'd say, and I believed her, mistaking exploitation for appreciation. That first year, I spent Christmas pacing hallways with a crying baby, while everyone else laughed over dinner. No one noticed I ate alone afterward. The second year, it doubled. 4 infants, one exhausted version of me, and not even a thank you, just a quick payment for diapers and an emoji. The third year, when I dared to suggest sharing the responsibility, I was reminded that I was the only one without a partner, as if being single automatically made my time less valuable. By the fourth year, something in me cracked. I spent 3 straight days caring for 5 children, sleeping on a deflating air mattress, rushing one of them to urgent care and paying the bill myself, while my family enjoyed vacations and quiet dinners. When it was over, all I got was a cheap candle and silence where gratitude should have been. That was the moment I started to see things clearly. Not loudly, not dramatically, just a quiet realization settling in. I wasn't being appreciated, I was being used. Still, habits are hard to break, especially when they're wrapped in the language of love and obligation. So I kept showing up, kept saying yes, kept shrinking my own life to fit into the spaces they left for me. Until that Thanksgiving. Sitting at that table, listening to my mother assign me Christmas without even a glance in my direction, something inside me finally refused to bend. I told her I had plans, and the way the room froze told me everything I needed to know. My independence wasn't expected. It wasn't even considered. That night, I went home and stared at my plane ticket, the result of 6 months of saving, of overtime shifts, of small sacrifices that added up to one thing that was entirely mine. And for once, I didn't give it up. The days leading up to Christmas were strange. My phone filled with instructions from my mother, schedules, lists, reminders, all assuming compliance I hadn't given. I didn't argue, I didn't explain, I simply didn't respond. For the first time in years, I let silence do the talking. On the morning of December 23rd, I got on that plane. I remember the exact moment the wheels left the ground, how light I felt, how quiet everything became. Somewhere below, my family was preparing for a version of Christmas that depended entirely on me showing up, and I wasn't there. When I landed, the calls started. Panic, confusion, anger. I answered one call, just one, and calmly told my mother I wasn't coming. Then I hung up and went to the beach. What followed was chaos, but not mine. Plans unraveled, tempers flared, and for the first time, the burden I'd carried alone was distributed among the people who had created it. And they struggled, they argued, they blamed me. My mother called relatives, telling them I had abandoned the family, painting herself as the victim. But this time, the truth didn't hold, because the truth was already there, sitting in years of messages in a group chat everyone could see. And someone finally said it out loud. My aunt, quiet for so long, spoke up during our Christmas video call and read those messages, the ones where my mother dismissed me, belittled me, reduced my life to something insignificant. There was no denying it, no twisting it. The silence that followed was heavier than anything I'd ever felt. But it wasn't crushing, it was freeing. For the first time, I didn't have to defend myself. The truth did that for me. When I finally spoke, I didn't yell, didn't accuse, I just stated what had been happening, clearly and calmly. 4 years of giving, of sacrificing, of being overlooked. And then I set a boundary. I would still be part of the family, but not as their default solution, not as their unpaid help, just as myself. The aftermath wasn't instant change or perfect understanding. It was messy, uncomfortable, and slow. My sister apologized. My brother sent me money he owed from over a year ago. My mother went silent for days before finally calling, her apology incomplete but real enough to matter. And when I visited her again, things were different. Not perfect, but different. The table was set for 2, not 10. There were no demands, no assumptions, just a quiet attempt to rebuild something healthier. Since then, small changes have continued. My sister hires a babysitter now. My brother makes an effort to speak up. My mother still slips into old habits, but she catches herself sometimes, and that matters. And me? I've learned that love doesn't mean erasing yourself. It doesn't mean being endlessly available at the expense of your own happiness. It means showing up as a whole person, with boundaries, with needs, with a life that belongs to you. That Christmas, sitting by the ocean, I realized something I wish I had understood years earlier. The people who only value you when you're useful don't truly value you at all. And the ones who do love you will adjust when you stop performing for them. You're allowed to choose yourself. You're allowed to say no. And sometimes the most important step you can take isn't toward your family, but away from the version of yourself that only exists to serve them.